Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's video. If you're new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as a way to record my progress as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds in 3 years. If you'd like to join the family, hit that subscribe button down below. Also, make sure you click on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate on the discussion, you can join me most weekdays where I go live on YouTube around 4 p.m. Central Time, or outside of YouTube, you can consider joining the Discord I created. There's a link for that down in the description below. Also down in the description below is a link to a Pinterest board that has a lot of our family's favorite whole food plant-based meals there if you're looking to get some ideas of the food that I've been eating to help me lose weight. That's a great place to go. Today is day 842 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. I've used a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet to lose 245 pounds so far. I have a little over 8 months left to go. I'm very excited to reach my goal and spend the rest of my life at a healthy weight. If anybody has any non-scale victories, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. I'd love hearing your on-scale victories as well. If you are struggling with your diet, what's causing your struggles? If you're succeeding with your diet, let us know what you're doing to succeed. And at the end of the day, what are some things that you are doing that is making staying on your diet easier than the alternative? Switch over to the big screen here. Hello, Stephanie and Pretty Girl's mom. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. It has been a long weekend, I know, for Carrie, because we have had the kids at home for a very, very long time. They did not have school on Thursday. It was a scheduled day off on Friday and another scheduled day off today. So the kids had a 5-day weekend. So we are looking forward to shipping them back off to school. But we had a very busy weekend. It was a fun-filled weekend. We'll talk about that a little bit here. Hello, Plants Only Muncher and Jean. Hello, hello. Hope you guys are having a great day. We're going to go ahead and go over what I ate today. And if you guys didn't see, I posted a short today of what I eat in a day. Just one of the days recently, the meals I had. It was a very broccoli-filled day, but it was not one of the days we had this weekend. But let's see here. So pull this up here. So Friday evening, we had a busy evening. Carrie was running kids around, doing some things, and so it was on me to take care of what our dinner was going to be on Friday, or it wasn't really on me. Carrie didn't ask, but she was busy, so I was like, well, I guess I'll throw together the one thing I can kind of throw together, or one of the few things that I like to have. And so what I do is take a few root vegetables here. I have some I have some yellow potatoes, some corn, and a couple sweet potatoes, and I cleaned those up and threw them in the Instapot for a little bit. And then I didn't take photos. I thought I took photos of the whole cooking process. I got so wrapped up I didn't take photos. But then what I do, I take those root vegetables, throw them in the Instapot. Then I take some onion, mushroom, and red pepper, throw them in a pan, let those saute or cook for a while, then throw a can of diced tomatoes with no salt added on top of it, and a little bit of seasoning inside of that, and just kind of cook that up. And it takes some time to cook. The Instapot takes about a half hour to cook and do all the depressurizing it does, and then cooking the vegetables takes some time. but it's just a simple meal with some ingredients that we almost always have in the house. We always have potatoes, always have carrots, usually have sweet potatoes. Sometimes I'll add spinach into this. We didn't have a lot of spinach this weekend, so I didn't add any spinach into it. But it's just simple things, just stuff we have around the house. We generally have these things around, throw them all together. I didn't put any vinegar in it, but that's something you could easily put in there, is a vinegar to give it some more flavor as well. So that is what I made for dinner on Friday evening. Then Saturday, this is what I had before breakfast. I don't even know if we had oatmeal Saturday, but I started my day off with some broccoli here, a little bit of table tasty on there for seasoning. And then Saturday's lunch. So I must not have taken photos of the oatmeal from Saturday morning, but I'm almost positive we had oatmeal Saturday morning. Carrie says that Friday was a very busy evening and she was very grateful to have the meal when she got home. Yes, she was just happy to have anything to eat, right? And not have to make it yourself, right? That's even better. So Saturday's lunch was it was the rest of the sweet potato. That's what's in there. So it was sweet potato that was left over from the dinner before, and then broccoli that I just mixed together was lunch on Saturday. Then Saturday evening's dinner. This is such a wonderful soup. I believe that this is from Chef AJ's Reboot. I'm almost positive. And this soup uses, and we thought it was so weird the first time we had it, but it uses an orange juice as like the base to it, or as the liquid part of it. I love this soup. It's really good. I'm hoping to, I'm hoping that this becomes a regular in our schedule of meals that we have. Carrie says here that it's the Chef AJ sweet potato and kale soup. Yeah, it's really great soup. I had a couple bowls of that on Saturday. Then I think we had some cobbler. Yes, Saturday evening. We have been eating a lot of this cobbler. It has been pretty much a daily thing in our house to have some sort of dessert after dinner, and this has been one of the easiest ones to make. So we had some cobbler on Saturday evening. Then Sunday morning, started my day off with broccoli, really just kind of the same as every other day, and then oatmeal for breakfast. Let me see here. Then yesterday's dinner was a vegetable barley soup. This was a really wonderful dinner as well. This is something that we've been having a few times. Gene here says that looks so good. I think you're probably talking about the Chef AJ sweet potato and kale soup, and it was so good. This was also really wonderful as well, having the vegetable barley soup. And then yesterday evening, we had cobbler. The difference between all the other cobblers and the cobbler we had last night was that I made the cobbler last night. It is extremely easy to make the cobbler. You just take a few bananas, throw them in a blender till they become a liquid. You take a couple pounds of fruit, put them in your baking dish. Then take the banana, mix it with some rolled oats, throw a tablespoon of something in there, cinnamon maybe, and then a quarter tablespoon of another thing, and then a pinch of a third thing. I can't remember the 3 seasonings that were in it, but I know there was 3 seasonings in it. And then you throw that on top and you bake it for a while. Hello, Amy. Hello, Barb. I don't know if I said hi to you there. Barb asked, do you know what time you're on The Secret to Weight Loss tomorrow? I don't, but I'll look that up here in just a minute. so that was food last night. And I don't know if I took any more food photos. Let me see what these other things are. Oh, yeah, I didn't. I did take a photo of my lunch today. It's very sad looking here. It's just the potatoes before I mixed the broccoli into it. And I had, I think those 4 potatoes, and I had another 2. I had like 6 potatoes today, as well as my regular oatmeal, things like that. So, real quick, I'll look up. I was having a hard time looking things up on my computer, but I can look up on my phone the truth about weight loss here and see. So I know that each day they're doing like 4 doctors or 4 experts and then 1 success story. And I'm the success story tomorrow. So it's whatever the last interview time starts. So we'll see if it tells me tomorrow's lineup on here at all. So tomorrow it just says I'm the last one. Let me see. So tomorrow there's the 2 guys from what's funny is I could probably just throw that up here. So this is the lineup for tomorrow's Truth About Weight Loss Summit. If you guys haven't checked it out, if you go to thetruthaboutweightloss.org, you can find this summit there. Pretty Girl's mom says that she believes it's around 12 noon Pacific is when my interview should start, which sounds about right. The day starts off tomorrow. It's Cyrus and Robbie. They are they're from Mastering Diabetes YouTube channel, I think is what it's called. Then Dr. Hannah, I don't know. She's going to be talking about put to the test common weight loss strategies and their health impact. Dr. Michael Gorin, how sugars are putting our children's health at risk, which I think will be a great one to listen to. And then Dr. I know I've heard this guy talk before. I don't know how to say his name though. But 5 key factors that prevent successful weight loss. And then me at the end of it. Let's see. Pretty Girl's mom says 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central Time. Yes, Jonathan Fa, that is me. Lighting the spark for a healthy life. So that is tomorrow's lineup for the Truth About Weight Loss Summit that I was interviewed for. So I'm very excited to check that out. And so Barb, yeah, so the video plays live. So if you go to their website, you won't have all these. It'll just have the live video here instead of having this Chef AJ. So it'll be playing that live, like in real time, or not, whatever, as they show the replay. And then after that is over, then you can go in and you can check out each interview. So if you wanted to listen to the Goldhamer interview from today, you could just click on that, and then it'll take you to a viewer where you can play that video for the rest of the day. So even if you don't catch it while it's playing for the following 23 hours, or I guess 20 hours after it gets over, you'll be able to click on the specific video. So like right here where Tim Kaufman is, that'll be my interview tomorrow. So I'm excited to see how, to see the interview. I'm gonna probably tune in and watch it live the best I can while I'm at work here. And there is a little chat function at the bottom of the or on the screen when you're watching it live. So there is people that do chat and talk during the live stream. So that will be great. Stephanie here says that Tim's interview was great. Yes, I'm probably most certainly going to listen to Tim's interview on the way home from my from work today. I've been following Tim Kaufman on YouTube. He has a YouTube channel. I think it's called Fat Man Uh, well, so his Facebook page is Fat Man Rants, but I don't know if his YouTube page is Fat Man Rants as well. But I know he has a fairly large Facebook community under Fat Man Rants. That he recently did a 30-day juice fast through the month of January. From January 1st to January 30th, he did a juice fast, and he is also training to do a triathlon. So he has kind of done what I'm hoping to do, and he's sustained that weight loss for a very long time after losing it. And that's the biggest part of this challenge, and the reason I wanted to do this, because I didn't want to keep yo-yo dieting and losing the weight and gaining it. I wanted to lose the weight and keep it off. And Tim Kaufman is one of the guys that has done that. The first day on the summit, they interviewed Chuck Carroll. He is, I know he works with the Physicians Committee on Responsible Medicine, PCRM. And their YouTube channel. He's also another guy that I kind of has done what I'm hoping to do and sustained and kept the weight off for a very long time. So it's kind of cool listening to them talk. I listened to the interview with Chuck Carroll and him talking about his old diet habits was almost too much to listen to. It was very triggering. Like, it was like, man, it's like identical. Like, he was talking about his trips to Taco Bell and getting the same thing and knowing exactly what he was going to get. And the people at the restaurants, like, knowing you or recognizing you, you know, like, in his example, they would have the meal ready for them or him. You know, I wasn't that way, but I would go to different fast food restaurants to try to avoid that stigma of happening. I would go to Taco Bell once a week so that it wasn't something where I was a regular, even though I was regularly there once a week. I would go to Wendy's one morning, or I'd go to Burger King, you know, or McDonald's many times, just to switch up so I wouldn't become that person that was a regular. But, you know, just the size of the meals that he would order, you know, very similar to what I would order. And really his size, like, I believe he's the Chuck Carroll, I believe he's much shorter than I am. And so for him to be at like 430 pounds wasn't, you know, much different than me being at 520 pounds, being, you know, 6 inches taller than him. He had a very large waistline, and kind of similar to me. So it's wild listening to that story. And I'm excited to listen to Tim Kaufman's interview and see what he talks about it. And Plants Only Muncher here says, for the summit, the personal story is always last. Yes, that's, at least this year, that's how they've had it lined up. And I believe it might be the way they always do it. So, yeah, it's cool so far, having been interviewed, and I'm hoping that people watching it are helped in some way. You know, like, that's a big part of that, is the trying to advocate for this and showing people that it's worth, you know, jumping into a plant-based diet. And I was talking to a friend of mine this past weekend, and the unknown of this diet is so crazy. So Carrie here says that she was surprised to hear that Chuck had weight loss surgery. You'd always thought it would be tough to do this diet with having a tiny stomach, but it's great to hear that it's possible. Yeah, that's a really neat part of his story, is that he didn't lose his weight by eating a plant-based diet, but that's what he's kept his weight off, is by eating a plant-based diet. Or he might have been eating plant-based, but I know he had weight loss surgery, which helps reduce the amount of volume that you eat. But that's really been something where we've had friends or family that have had weight loss surgery. And I'd love to suggest to eat this way, but I also worry that I don't know how it's possible. Like, I eat such a large volume of food, so I couldn't imagine not having the stomach capacity to process that. And so you just have to change things up. I imagine that it's eating more times per day or having some foods that are higher in calorie density, um, and making it work. So yeah, it's really cool that he was able um, to make that transition to a plant-based diet after having stomach surgery, because yeah, that was that's always, I find it hard to recommend eating this way to somebody that's had that done. So that's cool. I was talking about how this diet looks so it looks so restrictive and it looks so scary from the outside, from the when I say I eat a plant-based diet, where I don't eat any animal products. They start thinking about the things that you don't eat. You don't eat animal products, you don't eat sugar, you don't eat oil, you don't eat salt. And it seems so restrictive because you don't have a frame of reference. Like, when I say you can't have all these things, then when you start thinking of foods that you like, you realize that all the foods that you gravitate towards have those things in them, but they're not wholly made of those things. Like, I can't have French fries, but I can't have fries that are fried in oil, but I could have potato wedges that are put in an air fryer, and but it seems so scary from the outside, and it's weird to me. It's hard for me to even express it now because it seems so crazy to me, because it's so easy. Like, the Friday night when I just had to throw something together, I can just throw those things together. Like, that's not a recipe or anything that I would have known, but I would have done the same thing before. I would have just done it with ingredients that weren't good for me. I would have found 4 or 5 ingredients that were in the pantry or the fridge, and just thrown them together and just made something up. But when you are eating that way with all that processed food and all that junk food, you can't see what clean food looks like, because it's not, like I said, there was times where I stared at my pantry not knowing how to cook any of this food, and it takes time to learn how to do these things. Jean here says you had 2 sisters that had surgery at different times, years apart, and both ended up dying less than 3 years after each. It's so sad. They both had cardiac issues. Yeah, that's awful. And the surgery, it can seem like an answer, but it doesn't really have that much of a better success rate than dieting alone. I feel like maybe Dr. Greger was talking about that on the summit, because Dr. Greger was interviewed on either the first or second day of the summit. And Ron here says, or even recommending to a type 1 diabetic. I know they do with mastering diabetes, but carbs are such a touchy subject. Yeah. And with both the people that are diabetic, type 1 or even type 2 diabetic, or we have family, that have gestational diabetes, like, that, as we're not experts in it, but I feel like I kind of am, like, it's one of those things where I don't have a credential saying that I know about this thing or that this thing's going to help you, but there's no doctor out there that I can reference these people to that they can see locally that will back me up either. Like if I were spouting the health benefits of a keto diet, I could likely find multiple doctors in my area that I could say, hey, if I wanted to send people to you to kind of push towards a keto diet, can I send them? There's probably a few doctors that would say, yeah, that's what we recommend to people. But there's not that kind of backing with a plant-based diet in a local sense. I can go and say, hey, go look up Dr. Greger, go look up Dr. McDougall, look up Dr. Lisle and Dr. Goldhamer. But then they have to go and find their books and digest their info. It's not as convenient as a local doctor that will recommend it. But, I know people that have health issues that I recommend eating this way to them. And I know that if I had, Jonathan Faw, PhD after mine, even if the PhD was in podiatry or something, or psychology, like they would take my word for it more than just, hey, I've lost 245 pounds in the last 2 years. And that doesn't make me that kind of expert that people are needing to have push them, So anyways, yeah, it's tough with the people that have had surgery and people that have diabetes or other health consequences. If they have other health complications that they're taking medications for, I don't know what just happened there. That it's tough to be able to push a plant-based diet, but I feel like there's so many benefits to eating this way that it's worth doing, or it's worth giving a shot for a period of time. If you're sitting there saying, I will try anything, I would do anything, I've done everything. If you're saying you've done everything and you haven't tried eating a plant-based diet, then you haven't done everything, and fully committed to it. Like, it's not about reducing the animal products or about reducing the dairy in your diet. It's about completely eliminating it, because that's what I notice the huge differences, not just in the eliminating of the dairy, but also like in the sodium. Like if I have even a little bit of sodium, I notice that I have an issue with it. And there's a difference between a little bit and complete abstinence. And it's worth it to be completely abstinent of those products, because in the long run, it gives your body an opportunity to heal itself and to get better. Let's see. Stephanie here says that Dr. Carol Warblski talked today on the summit about it. Well, I guess I talked about a lot of things here, so I'm not sure. And then Plants Only Muncher says that a whole food plant-based diet is not restrictive. You choose to eliminate unhealthy foods. Yeah, and that's really hard to get across to people, because like I said, you say, oh, I eat a whole food, plant-based, salt, oil, sugar-free diet. And they say, oh, okay, so you don't have any animal products? And you're like, no, I don't. And they're like, well, what about dairy or eggs? No, I don't, and then, well, what if I want to have this? It was like, well, I don't eat that, or I choose not to eat that, like, what if I want to go to a restaurant? Well, we don't really eat out at restaurants, or if we do eat out at restaurants, we are picky about what we eat, and like, then in their head, they are just, everything that they brought up, you're cutting out, and they're not sitting there going, oh, well, how many potatoes do you get to eat in a day? Oh, well, I had like 6 potatoes during the day today. Oh, well, how much oats do you have? Probably a half a cup of oats with a handful of mushrooms and a quarter of an onion, like, there's so much more. I eat 12 to 24 ounces of broccoli a day, but they're not asking about those foods when They're asking about their diet. They're asking about the foods that they're afraid they're going to miss. They're not asking about the foods that they don't know yet that they're going to love. Like I went to a birthday party this weekend. I can talk about that in a little bit, but we went to the birthday party this weekend and there wasn't really any like of the hot food that I could eat, but they had a vegetable tray there that had raw broccoli or just uncooked broccoli and cucumber and carrots. And I snacked on those things. And eating raw broccoli is not something that I would have ever thought of eating before or enjoying or wanting, but that's something I get to eat now. That's something I do eat, and I can eat as much of it as I want to eat and not feel bad about it. Okay, Stephanie's saying that the doctor on the summit today was talking about weight loss surgery. Yeah, I'm going to try to listen to those interviews. I listened to quite a few of the interviews from the first 2 days, so I'm looking forward to checking out those interviews this afternoon. So yeah, it when you don't have the right frame of reference or any reference point, then of course it looks like it's impossible. It would be like throwing somebody out into a baseball field and said, "Here, this is baseball." And then them going, "Well, what's that?" And you hand them a glove and a ball and a bat and say, "Baseball." Like that doesn't, they don't know. It doesn't do anything for somebody who has no idea what baseball is. You have to explain to them, okay, well, there's the home plate and there's the bases and there's a batter and then there's a pitcher and a catcher and fielders and there's innings and outs. Like it takes time to learn about the bases and the players and the field and the rules. So when you're first starting here, if you don't know any of those rules, if you don't know any of that, then of course it looks like it's impossible. Of course it looks dumb. If you're just standing there with a bat, ball, and glove, what do you do with them? Like that's what people think of when they hear a plant-based diet and they haven't tried it, is that you're just throwing them to the field and saying, "Here you go." But what you have to realize is that it's worth the time to figure out how to play. It's worth the time to figure out the rules. And when you do, you realize that all of the other games that everybody else has been playing pale in comparison to eating a plant-based diet. For me to sit here and be 272.8 pounds, the lightest weight I've been since I was 17 years old. That's 23 years ago. It's been since I've been this light. And I've tried playing all of the other games. I've tried all the other diets. I've tried the pills. I've tried the programs. I've tried the meetings. I've visited the doctors. I've done the things. I've bought the gadgets. But at the end of the day, this game that I'm playing now is the one that I'm going to be playing the rest of my life. And as I continue to play it, I'm getting better and better. I talk about how for the first 11 months of this diet, I was perfect. I did everything right. I did everything I was supposed to. And I saw the success that I wanted to see because of that. And then I let life hit me, or life did hit me. And I tried to figure it out while eating a little bit of junk food, trying to have just a little bit of my foot outside the door. And I realized that I could maintain my weight, but I wasn't continuing to do what I wanted to do. And I wasn't getting all the way there. And so I had to recommit, and I had to focus again. I had to start doing 4 a.m. practice, doing 2-a-days. I had to start going pro, like Carrie says. If I want to be a pro at eating this way, I have to practice. I have to continue to try to become professional at eating this way. And that's really how any diet is going to succeed, is that it's going to be something where you can continue to do it and you can continue to get better at it. All these other diets that I used to do, I couldn't continue to do. my body wouldn't go on. It wouldn't allow me to keep eating these low calorie, these restrictive diets. And because just surviving day to day was so difficult, I was never able to get better at it. I was never able to learn because there was no better. When you eat a 1200 or a 1500 calorie diet, it doesn't get better. You can't do better. You can't, unless you start to realize the benefits of calorie density and volume eating, and you start to change and you start saying, oh, well, if instead of 1500 calories of chicken and beef and lard and fat and whatever you're doing on your diet, that if I eat 1500 calories of broccoli and potatoes, there's so much more volume of food. And the volume is the satisfaction. The volume is what we crave. That's how we evolved, is by eating a volume of food. And for many of us that are dealing with being grossly overweight, like I was, it's because you need a larger volume of food to be satisfied than your peers. Than the person, the skinny person next to you, they might need half as much volume of food as you do. But that's their genetics, and they can be happy that way. But if you want to be happy and you want to be a healthy weight, then give in to your genetic urge to eat a larger volume of food. Just change the density of the food that you eat and start eating more green leafy vegetables, more non-starchy vegetables, and start eating more fruits, and stop eating less of the meat and the dairy and the oils and the sugars and all of the stuff that is crazy high in calories. Like, they're not superfoods. Those are not superfoods. And maybe they are superfoods, but we're not superhumans that can process those superfoods. If there's some people that might have the metabolism to process it, or they might have the genetics that they don't absorb it. Maybe your genetics are such that you absorb everything. Produce Not Pill says, fun thumbnail. Yeah, that was from this weekend. I'll talk about that here in a minute. I got some photos from that. But yeah, it's worth figuring out how to play the game. It's worth figuring out how to eat this way. And as you continue to eat this way, you're going to get better at it. And if you take the time to hone the practice, to hone the skill of eating a plant-based diet, you're going to see the benefits. You're going to see the success that you've been wanting to see for so many years. And that's really something that I never expected to see that. Gene here says the volume, density, SOS free, and satiety are the keys. They can't succeed without one of those parts. Yeah, I think that those are really the things that I didn't expect to learn. And that's, I'm so happy that I fell into the Pleasure Trap, or finding the Pleasure Trap book and kind of following this way of eating, because there's so many things, there's so many different things that could have influenced me. And I just needed to be influenced into doing something. And I'm so happy that it pushed me this direction, because it's made me so much happier to lose all this weight. So yeah, I guess I'll talk. I mentioned it briefly. We had a birthday party this weekend. One of my brother's kids had a birthday, and so we went to a pool party that they had at a hotel near us. So we went and played there, and so it was really fun getting in the swimming pool. This was actually from the thumbnail that Produce Not Pills was talking about. So I was the only adult that got into the swimming pool with the kids. Everybody else decided not to go swimming, but I guess I'm a kid at heart, and I wanted to show off my sexy body. No, just hang out with the kids and have fun in the swimming pool. My arm has been feeling really good. You know, I still can't do a lot of heavy lifting, and I'm not supposed to do a lot of heavy lifting, but we did have some fun playing at the pool. And Carrie took some photos. Produce.pill says, would you have participated at your heaviest at the pool party? I probably would not have, without anybody else getting in the pool. You know, because it was my brother's kids party. If my brothers would have gotten into the pool, I might have gotten in, and I would have worn a shirt. I would have had I know exactly what shirt I would have worn too. It's a gray shirt that has these black sleeves, but I would have worn a shirt. But yeah, Carrie says, John is a fish. I do like to swim, so I might have gotten in, but it would have depended. Like, I wouldn't have planned on going swimming like I did this time. Like, I was like, I'm definitely going to go swimming. So, but I was, yeah, so I definitely went swimming this time. And then this is just me playing with my kids. That's my good arm, I guess, or not the arm that I had surgery on that I'm holding her up with there. Yeah, I'm mostly putting the strain on my other arm, but yes, we were just playing around, me and the kids swimming around. There's me catching my kid there. So yeah, it was a lot of fun going swimming. I really felt like I, could get around in the water. It was so nice. It was, and I'm just not even really putting it into my mind until now, but I am lighter now than I've ever been. Like, I've never, since I was 17 years old, pretty much as long as I can remember going swimming, I haven't been this light. And so I did get around pretty good. I was able to swim around a lot. And then, one big difference post swimming is that I have no soreness in my legs, in my body. Getting in and out of the pool can be strenuous when you're 500 pounds. And so that was something that, it was much easier to get in there and swim and all that stuff. Produce, did you guys have to bring your own food to the party at all? So we did not. We're bad parents. We normally have cupcakes that we bring for our kids. We knew that they were doing pizza, and so we had our kids, we ate at home before the party and just said, hey, we're going to eat at home. And then we went to the party, we did the swimming. Our kids are used to not having the birthday cake at this point, now that we've been eating this way for the past 2 years. And we realized that we forgot the dessert we had brought, we were going to have them have. So we just let them know, hey, when we get home, you guys have the dessert, and they were fine with it. And then they had a big tray of vegetables, there, with carrots and cherry tomatoes and cucumber and broccoli, that our kids ate those. And then, they had like bags of plain potato chips that our kids had some potato chips. But me and Carrie, it was just a 2-hour long party. So we ate a bunch of food beforehand. Yeah, I think, we had our broccoli and our oatmeal right beforehand, because it was kind of like over the lunch hour that they had the party. And then we came home and had, what did we have? Well, our potatoes and our broccoli for lunch, really. So it was kind of in between meals, so we survived it. Oh, and then they did have Uncrustables, which are peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that we let our kids have those, as well. So we didn't, Yes, Produce Not Pills says, when you see a party tray of vegetables, I want to take it all for myself. I've said that in the past, that uh, when we've gone to like a wedding and they've had this buffet line, and at the beginning of the buffet line, they have their salads, like the iceberg lettuce salads that they have, that I don't feel any shame taking as much of that as I want, because the rest of the line is for everybody else. And I'm not going to be taking any of the rest of it. So the food that is on my menu, I'm going to eat as much as I want. And because generally too, it's probably the cheapest thing in that line, or of the things that are there. So yes, take it all yourself. Do you try to feed your kids the same whole food, plant-based like you do? We do it to the best of our abilities. I guess we, I don't know. That's we try to push it on our kids. There's many nights where the only dinner that we have is the food that Carrie has made, or whatever we've had for us to eat. If they don't want that, then generally they'll make a sandwich, or something, have some substitute that they have. But they do eat a lot more fruits and vegetables than I bet any of their peers. I bet there's no kids at that school that eat more fruits and vegetables than our kids, which is pretty weird. I don't know. I just thought of that. But we don't push them. Like, they have pleasure trap foods around them all the time. And I know what pleasure trap foods are. I understand pleasure trap foods. And our kids don't have that. They can't. Trying to explain to them, that they live in an environment that we didn't evolve from, and that, they can't have the treats that all their peers are having, or it's a tough battle to fight. And so it's something where we have options for them. A lot of times though, like if our kids refuse dinner, I'll push them to go have a fruit, be like, well, you go eat an apple, go grab orange, go grab banana. Let's eat something like that. And then make yourself a plant-based sandwich. Like, we buy this plant-based tofurkey and bread that they'll have that, or peanut butter, or toast and butter, or margarine, I guess it is. But it's a tough one, it's we've had many, like, yelling matches at the dinner table over the past 2 years. A lot more in the first 6 months to 12 months, like, just trying to get them to understand just the how taste adaptation. Like, I know you say you don't like this, but everybody else here says it's good, and you're the only one that says it's not good. It's because you're not giving it a shot. And if you continue to give it a shot, eventually your taste will adapt like everybody else at the table. And they all seem to have their meals that they won't give a shot to. Or if they see that there's carrot in it, or is that carrot cooked or not cooked, or is that corn or not corn, or is there onion in it or not onion, or how's that prepared? Like, they try to find something to not like about it initially. And I think some of it has to do with the pleasure trap foods that they're surrounded with, and that, that they would choose not to eat if they knew that they could have jelly later, kind of thing, something sweeter later, or something that, because we want them to eat, like, we can't have them not eating either. So, and Produce Out Pills, he says, don't they like the stuff you guys end up cooking? It depends. Like, we can get some of our kids to eat the Mega Veggie Chili. Some of our kids hate the Mega Veggie Chili. We don't add any salt, oil, sugar. Again, comparing that to just putting a dab of salt on something. So our meals are, you know, they don't have any of that dopamine excitement or added excitement that a lot of the foods that they're looking for or what they're wanting to have. So, but they love smoothies. They love our desserts. You know, they'll eat those things. It's the more savory things. It's the more, you know, kale and spinach based things that are tougher to get them to eat. Produce Pill says your baby's 11 months and you plan to feed him whole food plant based. Yeah, that's another thing too, is that our kids were much older than that. You know, our youngest kids were 4 or 5 when we started eating this. Our oldest kids were 8 and 7. And so they had access to and a lot of, you know, we did a lot of our old diet, you know, and so they know, or they knew what those foods were or tasted like. You know, if we were starting new with a new kid, it might be easier to keep them from those, or, you know, get them to eat that type of diet a little bit better. Carrie says starting a child off eating whole food plant-based is a lot easier because they never have those other foods. Sometimes we joke about having one more kid just to raise them that way. Yeah, well, we don't really joke that seriously about having one more kid, but yes, it would be crazy to, you know, but I mean, our kids are going to be 99% of their life, as long as they live to at least 100, right? You know, 90 to 95% of their life is going to have been spent eating, hopefully, a plant-based diet. You know, once they get older and they decide what they want to do, they're going to do what they want. But I think that they're pretty on board with it now, and I would be surprised, or I'll be surprised when they change their mind. Hey Janet, how's it going? I hope you had a great weekend. Then Jean says they'll appreciate it in adulthood. Yeah, that's really the hope, is that they understand that you can eat this way and be healthy. And if they find that they're suffering any type of health complications or issues, that food can be quite the medicine that somebody could have. One more kid, hello, you didn't like that joke. No, it's we've had, we got 4 kids. 4 is a lot. So it seems 4 should be enough, especially when one turned out to be 2. Yes, the last 2. Who knows? And yes, 4 is the limit, Carrie says. It's interesting because I wonder if between the 2 twins, if one of them would have been born, if we would have had 4 versus the other been born, we would have had 4. I feel like, who knows? So they're lucky that they both showed up at the same time. Yes, we have twin girls that are 6 years old. Yes, an even number. It's balanced. It works out well. It's a lot of work though, you know, and Carrie is sitting there with being at the end of a 5-day weekend with them. So she's about done with them, I'm sure. So they'll be off to school tomorrow, and she'll get that little bit of breather that she's been looking for. Let's see. I feel like I talked about just about everything. If anybody had any questions, let me know. Carrie's ready to get back to work. Yes, come back and work. I got lots of paperwork for you to file somewhere here. It was a great weekend. I watched a lot of the summit videos. They were really fun to check those out. I thought that the Chuck Carroll interview was a great interview. There was another interview on Saturday that was good. And Gene says, enjoy it now. You'll miss them when they're all grown up. I think we were talking about that this weekend too, you know? Yes, that's what everybody says. I'm waiting for them to prove that statement right, you know? Um, so yeah, it was a good weekend. Tomorrow morning, make sure you check out the summit to watch my interview with Chef AJ. I don't even remember everything I talked about. It's been a little while ago, but I did some slideshows that I put together. So I hope that I do as good a job as all the other speakers do on the summit as well. Yeah, it was a good experience. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I'm going to try to watch it live. So I'll try to be in the chat on the summit thing tomorrow as well. It's Tuesday. I'm pretty sure tomorrow's Tuesday. I'll be going all week. I'm not looking forward to weigh in this week. I don't know. I felt real bloated the last 2 days. So we'll see how that turns out on the weigh-in. But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. Thank you so much. My focus just went out at the same time. Thank you guys so much for checking out today's video. I gotta go. Somebody's calling me. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, get subscribed right now. If you haven't clicked on the bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos, make sure you do that right now. And if you have not started your diet yet, get started right now. You guys all have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.